want ourselves to come to the front of the mat, shake out the legs a little bit. Just for a couple of minutes, you've been sitting, we want to sort of get those knees and ankles and toes and feet moving a little bit. So you can literally, pedal up and down. You don't have to jump away from the floor, but just kind of standing on the spot and moving around a little bit. So this will get the blood pumping around your body. It'll also kind of connect your head with your balance senses as well. And as much as I know this looks completely silly, it is very effective. Now we'll bring it to being still. Allow ourselves to take the arms out wide onto the sky on the breath in. Let the hands come through your heart. Hinge at the hips, soften the knees. Allow your fingers to come to the floor. We'll bring the hands onto the shins immediately, lifting up halfway, exhaling down, seeing how those lower backs feel and hamstrings and the buttocks. Inhaling up. It's cold weather, they get tight even when you think you're wrapped up. And coming onto the shins again, lifting up, easing our way down. Hands onto the shins. Exhaling down. If you can, take your hands forwards of your feet a little bit. Allow yourself to bend one leg at a time and straighten the opposite leg. Just noticing how that feels through your ankle, into the back of the Achilles, through the calf muscles, also into your lower back as well. Just rocking it out from side to side. And then we'll bring the hands back onto the mat. I'm going to step back into a plank and bring the knees down to the floor for cat-cow. Drawing the chest forwards, drawing the shoulders back. Exhale, press into the hands and the shins, around the spine. Inhaling, coming forwards. And exhaling. Now we'll let ourselves come into down dog. So we'll just lift the knees by tucking the toes underneath. And then press back and up into that first down dog. Allow ourselves to step the legs out into a position that feels natural for you. Feet about hip distance apart. Going to pedal a little bit. And then in down dog, we'll take the feet as wide as the mat. Put the hands in far enough, keeping the legs straight so the heels can come to the ground. It becomes a very acute in terms of angles. We'll take a breath, letting the left hand come out to the right ankle, outside edge, and just turning the body underneath. Pressing the feet down, hips back. We'll bring the hands back and cross over to the opposite side. And bring the hands forwards again. And bring the feet back in. It's a normal kind of position. We'll let the knees come down to the floor and untuck the toes. We're going to sit directly onto the heels. Bring the forearms together, interlacing the fingers. Going to roll the wrists around a little bit as well. So rounding the shoulders purposefully. And just sliding the forearms against each other. Maybe if we do that long enough, we'll generate some heat. Who knows? Now we'll shake out the fingers. We come into child's pose. So we're going to take the hands forwards. We're sitting on top of the thighs. There's still that narrow stance. Quite a rounded spine. The head is not touching the floor, purely because that's not where it gets to. If your body is able to get a little lower, then great. But if you're high, don't worry about it. You know, you get the whole of your body to fold over. And just allow ourselves to breathe nice and deep into the diaphragm. Feel the ribs stretching out behind us, filling the back of the lungs. And then bringing ourselves forwards. So we'll lift up. We're going to spin the left foot out to the side, bring the left hand in a little more in line with that left knee, take the right foot back, drop the heel down on the right leg. We're coming into a side plank with a knee down. Going to keep it soft and easy. Normally we work a little harder in this, but I know what comes later in the class. So if you want to take it further in your own designs, you can do. But I know what I know where I need to keep my energies. We bring the hands back down to the floor. And we'll let ourselves cross over to the other side. So just adjusting the hand in, so heel, knee, and hand are more aligned to each other, the easier it is to balance. Pressing down through the back foot, front hand. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the floor. I'll take the right foot back, left foot back. Looks mysteriously like a plank. You'd be right to guess that. We'll let the feet roll over to the left. Allow ourselves to take a sort of more original version of side planks, lifting the hips high, keeping the head in line with the body. Try to have the hand or the wrist underneath the shoulder. I'll bring that back down to the floor. Cross over to the opposite side. Bring that hand down to the ground. Knees back underneath the hips. I'm going to thread the needle, taking the right arm up towards the sky, so opening his chest. We'll come back through and under, dropping the shoulder in ear to the floor. Take a breath as you roll the top shoulder over. Press down into the standing hand. Allow yourself to open up to the opposite side. Folding that under. Taking the breath, pressing away. Come back out again. Bring the hand to the floor. Take it over to the right. All the way through. Press away. Taking the hand high again. Bringing it down. Last side. Left to left. Through and down. And press away. Arms float up again, so opening the chest, and then bring it down to the ground. Take a little breath from there. Move back into our down dog. You're going to take a right knee in towards the chest. Just squeeze that in a little bit. Flex foot. Raise the foot down to the floor. We'll do the same with the opposite side. Really squeeze it in. And bring the foot to the floor. This time we'll take the right leg into a scissor. We'll knee in towards the chest. Extend it back out into the scissor. Draw it back in. Extend it out. Back in. Extend it out. Back in. Foot to the floor. Same on the opposite side. Scissor the leg. Into the chest. Exhale. Lengthen it out. Draw it back in. Lengthen out. Draw it in. Back in. Last time, draw it in. Lengthen out. Bring the foot to the floor. Back into plank, knees to the ground. Let ourselves sit back gently. We'll take hands to the floor behind us. Just lift the knees a little away from the ground. Lift the chest up. Lengthen the head towards the back of the mat. Draw the shoulder blades together so the chest opens fully. And we'll let ourselves bring the fingers back to the front of the mat. We'll lift ourselves up again. Take a little breath. We'll scissor the left leg and draw the knee through. Tap the outside of your tricep on the left. Lengthening back out. Tapping the top of your tricep high as you can. Lengthening out. Through again. We'll take 5 of these. And then we'll work on the opposite leg. And this time, allow the feet to come back down to the floor. Knees to the ground again. We're going to bring the elbows to the floor, about shoulder distance apart, interlacing the fingers lightly with the little finger tucked underneath. So you're pressing down through the forearms and the side of your hands. Allow yourself to roll the shoulders back, step one leg at a time back into plank. We'll ease the knees back down to the floor. Allow ourselves to spin the feet out to the side as we sit down onto our bum. Legs out in front. I'm going to draw the feet together. Temporarily just hold on to the ankles as I rock out through the hips a little bit, just letting the muscles mush out of the way. I think that's a technical term. Now I'll take my fingers, middle finger, index finger around the big toes. Lean back a little bit and walk the heels in a little higher. So the knees are out wide, a little high. We'll lift the chest and extend my right leg out. Now I want to try and lift the chest up, draw the belly in. Actually push the sort of lower part of your pelvis and hips and your spine forwards, so you're not sinking or rolling back. You're pressing out through the heel a little bit. Just using the shoulders to draw back just a little as well. We'll bring the foot back down and we'll take it out to the second side. So a little sideways. Just try and press out through the heel. Lift the body. Remember to breathe. Now, the reason we took this posture so we're sort of in the middle of the mat is if we roll back, hopefully, there would be nothing for us to bounce our head on or get tangled up in. I'll bring the feet back in. Take a little breath. This time we'll lift both heels off. And as you lengthen your legs out, see if you can bring your side more into parallel, just bringing the feet together. And we'll let the feet come back down to the floor. Lengthen the legs out gently. I'm going to take a twist with the body from Dandasana over towards the left side. So right hand comes to the outside of the left leg, left hand behind. Slowly bring that back to the opposite side. Just looking over the rear shoulder. Again, keeping the spine long, lengthening out through the heels, the toes are pointing to the sky. Get across the ankles as I bring the body back to the center. Bring the feet in, hands into the front of the mat. Untangle the legs, back into down dog. Take the feet wide again. Walk the hands in. This feels familiar. It is. Left hand goes across. Comes back again. Over to the other side. And bring the hands back into the front of the mat. Down dog, we'll just lift up onto the tippy toes. We're going to take some small steps, a few inches at a time, still on the toes, with straight legs into a forward bend, coming into the front of the mat. Hopefully walking the toes until they're in line with your fingers. Hands come onto your hips. Off knees and a flat back to lift up. Inhale high with the breath in. Hands into the heart. Shift your weight into the right leg, a little softness in the knee. Draw the left knee in towards your chest. Take your hands around the shin. Just give it a little lift up higher than you would normally be able to take it. Release, let your arms out wide. Swoop your left back leg into lunge and bring your fingers down to the floor. Now you're going to see if we can keep the left hand on the floor and take the right hand up. That's to steady myself and work out which was left and right. We'll come back down to the floor and then drop the back heel in. Bring the hands alongside the body. We'll lift a little. Bring the hips over the center line. Allow ourselves to cartwheel up. Turn the palm on the front hand into reverse warrior so we smoothly move through. We'll come back into warrior two. Extend out over the front thigh. See if we can bring that bottom hand all the way to the floor, the chest open, top hand towards the sky. Keep head in line with the rest of your body. Press down into the floor and allow yourself to lift back up. We'll take the hands high and down to the floor again. Framing the front foot. We'll drop the back knee to the floor and tucking the toes. Sweep the hands alongside your body. Check your knee is over your ankle. And send your arms out and lift your way up as you exhale. Let the chest lift a little bit. Take it into the smallest of back bends. Feeling that hip flex from the rear leg working. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Lifting the back knee. Allow the fingers to move forwards and step gently into warrior three. I'm going to try and keep the hips nice and square. Flex the foot and press out through the heel. So we're just looking to have the fingertips on the floor underneath the shoulders. By all means, if you want to take your hands away from the ground, you can. But we're looking for some stabilization through the hips and getting used to pressing through that back leg. Now we're going to soften the front knee, bring the left foot in, allow ourselves to squat down onto our thighs. So the bottom is nice and low, and we'll take the hands forwards away from the ground out in front, palms facing in, and then drive through the legs with the feet hopefully parallel to each other to lift up. And let the hands come back down again. Hands in towards your heart. Float the arms towards the sky as you breathe in. Allow yourself to soften that left knee just a little bit. Allow the right knee to come in. Going to use the hands to just get a little bit extra lift. Release it back. Let the arms float out wide. I'm a little bit too close to the wall for my own comfort. Bringing the fingertips down to the floor. Right hand on the ground. And left hand lifting up. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Drop the back heel in, ready for warrior two. Allow yourself to bring the hands alongside. Right arm lengthens out and we're lifting up. Straight into reverse warrior. Slowly back into warrior two. Lengthen out over the front thigh. And down to the floor, chest nice and open. We'll press away from the ground. Bring the hands high and then down to the floor. Again, we spin the back foot, drop the knee on top of the toes. Lean into the front leg a little bit with the torso as we take the hands behind and then float forwards and up. Use the back shin for a little bit of stability. And then bring the hands back down to the floor. Lifting the back knee. Fingers come forwards again. We'll push off. Warrior three. And then we'll soften the front knee. Bring the right foot down, squat down deep. Hands come forwards again. We can drive our way up. Let the hands come down gently. We'll take a breath from there. Let the arms float out wide again. In towards the heart. Exhaling down to the floor. On the fingertips, we draw the chest forwards, the legs straight. We fold again deeply on the exhale. Taking the left foot back into lunge and dropping the heel in. Hands alongside the body, we're going to cartwheel our way up. Inhale the hands high and down to the floor. And spin the back heel, drop the knee on the toes. Bring the hands back again, lifting up. Coming down to the floor. This time I'm going to step back into down dog. From there, we'll take a breath into plank. Take our first half plank. And up dog. Roll it back into down dog. Breath in. And draw the left knee through to the front of the mat on the exhale. A breath pressing out through the back heel. Step into the front of the mat. Forward bend, hands on the hips, and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. And exhale down to the floor. Fingertips to the left. Fold it down. Stepping the right foot back into lunge. Dropping the heel in, warrior two lift. Taking the hands high. Down to the floor we go. Spin the back heel, drop the knee, come tuck the toes, sweep the hands alongside. Lift into that low crescent pose. Hands come down to the floor. Step back into down dog. We inhale to plank. Half plank. Beginning the exhale. Inhale, giraffe dog. Roll it back into your down dog. Draw the right knee in. Bring the foot through on the exhale. Take a breath, push off the toes. Forward bend. Hands onto the hips. And we lift up. Set hands high. Through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Fingertips to the left. Fold it in. Bending the left foot back. Dropping the heel in, warrior two lifts. Inhale high. Float it down. Bend the heel, drop the knee. This time I'm going to take the twist, so left hand on the floor, right arm comes up. I'm going to bring the heel in towards the bottom. See if we can catch the foot back there and draw the heel in. So big stretch into those quads and hamstrings. They're definitely clear. Try and lift the chest up a little bit more. One more breath. Release the foot gently to the ground. Sweep the arm over. Step it back to down dog. Come forwards in the plank, breath in. Half plank. To up dog. To down dog. Inhale your left knee through. Exhale to from the mat. And press into your forward bend. Hands under the hips and we lift up. Hands high. Second side. Exhaling down. Belly's drawn in. Fingertips. Folding down deep. We're sending the right foot back and dropping the heel in. Warrior two lifts. Hands come high. Lengthen out to the front of the mat. Back knee drops down to the floor. Right hand on the ground, stability. Left hand comes up, begin to twist, get some space, open up. As the hand goes back, bring the foot in, see if you can catch. Try and bring the front knee a little to the center line. Should have said that on the previous round, but I don't think I had enough breath. And we'll release from there. Bring everything back. We'll step back into the down dog. Come forward into the plank. Half plank. Up dog. Roll it slowly back. Down dog. Inhale your right knee in. Bring the foot through on the exhale. Press off the toes. Forward bend. Take a little breath from there. Bring hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift up. Come high. Hands to the heart. And exhale down to the floor. Fingertip lift. Fold it in. Left leg back. Dropping the heel in, warrior twos. Let hands come behind the back. The belly drawn in, tailbone down to the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Turn your chest and your hips towards the front of the mat. Lengthen out over that front thigh. Rest your body on it for a moment. Start to inhale your hands towards the ceiling, squeezing the shoulder blades together a little bit towards the spine. And then use the next exhale to dip in a little further whilst bringing your hips over the center line. Humble warriors. And we'll bring the hands back down to the floor. Step back into our down dog. Come forwards into the plank. Keep it strong. Elbows into the ribs. Turn the feet as we come into up dog. Roll it slowly back. Take a breath. Left knee comes in. So it comes through on the exhale. And push off the back toes. Hands onto the hips. We lift up. One more side to play with. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Fingertips to the left. Fold it in. Extending the right foot back. Dropping the heel in. Lifting into warrior twos. Hands behind. Throw the shoulders back a little bit. Draw the belly in, tailbone down. Then rotate, keeping the back foot pressing down a little as you lean out over that front thigh. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as you lift the hands. And then slide a little deeper so the head can drop. The eyes are pretty much looking easily towards the back foot. And we'll bring the hands down to the floor. Step it back into our down dog. Come forwards into our plank. Half plank. Up dog. Breath in. Drawing the right knee in. Using the exhale to travel forwards. Pushing off the toes. Into a forward bend. Hands onto the hips. And we lift up. Put hands high. And in towards the heart. And exhale down to the floor. Step it back into down dog. Bring the knees to the ground. Untuck the toes. Sit back down onto the heel. And the hands come in towards your heart as you close your eyes. We'll take a moment. And we'll let the hands come forwards again. As us to lift up, we'll step into the front of the mat. Bring the hands onto the hips, but lift up. We'll bring the feet together. Allow the hands to come in towards the heart. I'm going to take tree pose. So you're going to load the weight into the left leg. Allow the right knee to come up and forwards. And then start to take it out to the side. Bring the heel into the groin. See if you can bring that heel right into the top so your toes are away from your knee joint. Press it in. Allow yourself to lift slowly the hands up and bring the palms together above your head. As you exhale, bring the hands back down. Bring the leg forwards again. So you're standing towards the front of the mat. Both feet on the ground. We bring the hands high through the heart and down to the floor. You're going to step back to down dog. We'll come forwards into plank. Half plank to up dog. Roll it back into down dog. We'll scissor the left leg high. Draw the knee in towards the chest and bring that through. Step the right foot into the forward bend. Hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift. Set the hands high and bring the feet together again. Allow yourself to load the weight into your right leg. Draw the knee high and forwards. Out to the side. Use your hand to bring the foot in gently. Press it in. Inhale the hands high. Exhale down with the hands. Bring the leg back to the center, foot to the floor. Scoop the hands high on your breath. In towards your heart. Exhaling down. Stepping back into down dog. We'll come forwards into plank, half plank, and up dog. Roll it back into our down dog. Scissor the right leg high, knee into the chest and foot through. Take a breath and step to the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips. And we lift. Whew. Finally started to get warm. Take one layer off. Now, see if you can take the hands out in front. Allow yourself to lift your heels from the ground. Have your feet about hip distance apart. Keeping the heels off the ground, if you can. We're going to squat down gently until it feels like the thighs are parallel to the ground. We'll take a little breath and lift our way back up. Bring the heels to the floor. Let the arms fall down. Swoop them out to the side. Hands through the heart and down to the floor. We'll step back, left and right into down dog. Coming forwards into the plank. And take side plank to the left. Right arm lifts. Hands come down to the floor. And take it over to the opposite side. Inhale. Bring the hands to the ground. Half plank, elbows in. Up dog. Roll it back to down dog. Left leg lifts into scissor. Knee comes into the chest. Foot comes through. Take a little breath. Step into the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips. We let ourselves lift up. We'll take hands forwards again. Try to lift on the tippy toes. Slowly bring yourself down. Until you think your thighs are parallel to the floor. Then slowly lift your way back up. Ease the heels to the ground, hands alongside the body. Get them up and out to the sky. Through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. And stepping right and left to down dog. Coming forwards into plank. We'll take it to the right. Left hand lift. Don't worry, forget the other side, because we'll do that as well. Crossing over. Hands back to the floor. Ooh. Half planks. Up dog. To down dog. And we'll scissor the right leg. Draw that through. Front of the mat. And step it into the front. Hands on the hips. And we lift up. Oof. Inhale high with the hands. And in towards the heart. We'll take a little breath. Allow yourself to take the hands forwards again. Heels away from the floor. Down we go into the squat. We'll lift back up. Bring the heels to the floor, our hands into the heart, soften the knees, load the weight into the right leg. Left leg, heel comes into your butt. Swoop it back into warrior three. Then soften the front knee to drop the foot into lunge. And hands to the floor. Flip it back into your down dog. We'll come forward into plank. Half plank to up dog. Roll it back to down dog. We're taking the left leg high into the scissor, knee into the chest and foot through, and then stepping into the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips, we'll lift up. Hands come high on the breath. In towards the heart, down by the sides of your body. Hands come out again, onto the heels. We're squatting down again gently. Take a breath. Allow ourselves to lift slowly back up. Bring the heels to the floor. Hands down by the side of the body, in towards the heart. Big breath in, soften the knees. Load to left. Right knee lifts, heel into the butt. We take it back into our warrior three. We soften the front knee to drop down into the lunge. Bring the hands to the floor. Step back into down dog. Coming forwards into plank. To half plank to up dog. Rolling it back into down dog. And we'll scissor the left leg. I might have got that wrong. Knee into the chest and bring the foot through. We're still going to end up at the front of the mat and allow ourselves to step in. Whew. Hands onto the hips and lift. Take hands high again. Through the heart, we're going to come down to the floor. Whew. Step back, down dog, bringing knees to the ground. Sitting back onto the heels. We'll float the arms out wide. Going to bring our arms into eagle arms, bringing the left arm across. Right arm over the top. Bend into the elbows and then sink. Ooh. Into the hands together mode. So we're almost there, 3/4 of the way through. Carefully take the arms out again, cross them over the opposite way. And keeping the elbows nice and loose into the body, the shoulders are just drawn back a little bit. I know there's lots of different ways of working through the muscles in the shoulders and the arms, but we've done all the work. This is a sort of a passive stretch version of eagle arms. Just giving those deltoids and the traps a little bit of a chance to relax and soften. And a release. Going to come down onto the floor again with the elbows, hand lengthen the legs back gently. And you can bring the belly down to the floor with control, and then just bring the hands underneath the chin with the elbows out wide, starting with the feet about hip distance apart. Letting the heels roll out a little bit and rocking through the hips to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a baby massage into the lower back. Through those parts of the body that have done a lot of work in the last 45 minutes. Now we're going to start to work on locust pose. So we're going to let the chin come to the floor and bring the hands down by the side of the body, palms down. On the inhale, I'm going to lift the chest and the hands away from the floor, just squeezing the shoulder blades together lightly and trying to keep the feet attached to the ground and the thighs. Let ourselves come back down. Inhale up. Hold a while. Try and roll those thighs outwards. Making space in the lower back, your thighs right out, or your hamstrings roll out to the sides. And we'll come back down again. We'll take a breath in. Use the exhale to lift. Hold. Breathe. And we'll bring ourselves down. We'll continue, but we're going to take the legs and thighs away from the floor as well. On the inhale, prepare. And on the exhale, allow yourself to lift thighs, toes, hands, and chest. Keep yourself lifted as we breathe in and out a few times. And we'll bring it back down gently, gracefully. Take a breath. Use the exhale to lift. And ease our way down. Take one more breath in. And we'll lift. This time we'll take the hands behind the back, place the fingers, squeeze the shoulder blades together even more as we draw the hands towards the tail. And we'll ease down. We'll bring the hands to about the bottom of the ribs. Press away from the floor to bring ourselves back up. We'll just walk the fingers in towards the front end of the mat. Knees underneath the hips again. And take a few rounds of cat-cow. I'm just starting to take a little bit of an opportunity to work into that upper back. And then we'll come back down to the floor again. Taking the legs back. We come into bow pose, but take it in stages. We'll start off with the elbows out wide and hands underneath the chin. The feet are hip distance apart. We're going to simply bend the left leg and take the left hand back. We'll find the toes. Bring the heel towards your buttock. Press the knee away and the thigh down into the floor. Try and keep the chest square to the ground. And then we can release. Bring the hand back under the chin so we can swap over to the other side. Pressing the leg away. Pressing the thighs into the ground. Bow pose, we're going to bring both heels towards the buttock. You want to make sure that your knees or relatively hip distance apart. Don't want them too far away from each other. And bend the knees and bring the heels in towards the butt. You'll notice that your hips kind of lift off the ground at that point. So try and press them down a little bit. Let your chin come to the floor and reach back one arm at a time to find an ankle. And once you've connected, you got your fingers nicely positioned. Allow yourself to flex the feet. So you've got a strong connection to work with, and you can press the thighs down to the floor. We're just going to work on that phase at the moment. Pressing down. Now on the exhale, going to keep pressing the thighs down, but press the shins away and see if you can get a little bit of a lift of the chest away from the ground. Once you've done that, see if you can press the soles of your feet towards the sky and feel your thighs lift off the ground. Continue to draw your chest forwards and up. Keep the belly drawn in, breathe. You might notice as you breathe in and out the steady rock through the body. Last breath in. And we're down. Now we'll let ourselves roll onto whichever side you like. And draw the knees towards you, so we can use a hand to press into the floor and lift our way back up. I'm going to take the feet out nice and wide. I'm going to use the luxury of having a rug out in front of me, so it's a little warmer. You might want to turn sideways on your mat if that keeps your feet somewhere soft and warm. Sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to bring the left heel in towards the groin. Have the shin down on the floor, hopefully. Pack it with a cushion or a block, yoga block if you have them, if it doesn't. You want the toes of this long leg pointing up towards the sky, and they're lengthening out through the heel, so hopefully your heel and your calf are actually attached to the ground, sitting upright. We'll turn the body towards the bent knee. I'm going to start to lift the body up. Take the right hand onto the shin, walk the fingers down as I lean the body out. And I'm going to sort of wrap my left arm gently around my back. I'm not trying to reach the thigh. I'll take it a little easier this evening. Because what I want to really do is think about getting the body to a sort of halfway state, or 45 degrees. And then start to lift your body up and out of your pelvis in the direction of that extended leg. And then we'll release that. And I'll take it across the other side. So nothing extreme, just a really gentle, easy stretch. And turn towards the opposite leg now. Arrange the legs so that toes are pointing upwards. Turn the body in towards the bent knee. And start to walk out, so bring the hand around the back. Halfway-ish. And then start to lift up. Turn the chest towards that bent knee, so it's nice and open. You can use the top shoulder round behind you. There's plenty of space around the neck and the shoulders. And then we can release from there as well. Oh, time for Shavasana. Did actually manage to warm myself up finally, but I'm going to put the tops back on. Now, if your room is adorned with blocks and cushions and blankets, etc., and that allows you to get into a deeper, more comfortable, cozy shavasana, then take the opportunity to treat yourself. We've worked pretty hard this evening. Lay down gently to the ground, as ever, knees high, hands back, chin in towards the chest, and try to roll the spine down. So you're using your abdominal muscles, your shoulders, and everything to support. And take a little rock out through the hips with the knees high to start with. And let hands come down by the side of my body, palms up. Let myself have a little wriggle through the shoulders into the neck. And then when the side all feels nice and long and loose, you can use the toes to just walk the feet out to the corner edges of the mat. Now, at some point, you run out of toes and you just want to keep your heels in contact with the ground and slide your legs out. One leg at a time. Makes it a little easier to control. And that just allows the muscles to come into the pose a little more softly. It's easier for your nervous system, allows you to calm down. The eyes slightly closed, jaws shut, but soft. Allow yourself to breathe. Floating or sinking on the mat, whichever works for you. We'll start to wriggle those fingers and toes. Wrists and ankles can join in. Taking a longer breath, you can stretch in any way that feels good. Just following your instincts, keeping it gentle and soft and slow. And then we'll slide the heels along the ground towards us, one leg at a time. And prepare to bring the knees in towards the body so that we can take the hands loosely around the shins. Either be still, just letting gravity bring the legs to us, or rocking a little bit from the spine if that feels good. But very easy, soft movements without any harshness to the breath. We'll take a last of those deep breaths and then use that to roll onto the right side. And use the hands to press into the floor to lift up. And bring ourselves back to sitting. Hands in towards the heart. We take a longer breath in. Closing the eyes. Beginning to slowly exhale that the chin drops. And finding your belly drawn to the spine. Seal your practice with a bow. As the breath comes back in, let it build your spine. Let the head lift naturally and easily, eyes open. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me. See you again on the mat soon.